Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. I am Dana, and today we are going to talk about ephemera. So what I want to talk about is the ephemera that is offered to you by Stampin Up, and I have some of the ephemera packets displayed here, and we're going to talk about what is ephemera, what does it mean, and how can we scrapbook with ephemera. So as I talk about ephemera and what it is, how to use it, I'm going to also kind of flip through these different packets and show you what the contents of these include. So this first packet is called the fully flowering ephemera packet, and you can see that I have different types of storage displayed here as well. These are just envelopes that I've purchased off of Amazon, and I'm not sure this is going to be my permanent storage, but this is what I'm using for now. So as I flip through here and show you what these different packages include, I want to talk a little bit about what does ephemera mean, what is it all about. If you're not familiar with the terminology, just kind of give you a little bit of background about that term, ephemera. For me, it's a little bit hard to say sometimes. It can be a little bit of a tongue twister. So what is ephemera? Ephemera is basically kind of dates way back to like Greek mythology, and it refers to really things that have no lasting meaning, something of no lasting significance. So when we think of ephemera, we think of things that would be like postcards or tickets, things that were originally meant to be discarded. So as you can see here, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth, these packets come in sheets of 2, so you get 2 of each, and these are really easy to punch out. So in this packet, you get 4 different designs, and of course, these are flowers. And I have not used any of these yet, so we're gonna get into these in tonight's project as well. But these are the flowers, and you get 2 of each, and lots of variety in different colors. So you can use these for cards and scrapbooking, but today I'm going to do a scrapbook layout. So again, thinking of ephemera, you're thinking of things that, you know, back in the day, these were things that you would have and you would most likely have originally discarded. And so when I think of ephemera, I think of things like, you know, when you went to the theater back in the day and you got your playbill, back in the day, you'd just throw that away. But today, now they've become collectible items. So your playbill, your tickets, things that people now like to save. This is the labels and layers packet. So in today's environment, things that are ephemera, we now know that we like to scrapbook. So when we think of that, we can expand that to other types of keepsake items that, you know, you might expand it to postcards, any other type of souvenir thing that you might have discarded in the past, but now you would keep on to, hold on to. So here we have all of these fun tags and pieces that you can also use for your cards. You can stamp on these. You can use them for grounding in your layouts. So lots of fun little shapes and patterns that you can use. So again, 2 sheets of each, and you get 4 sheets total. The one thing about ephemera is that they are typically paper products. So I like to think of ephemera as being something that you could use for embellishments with your scrapbooking or cards, but they are typically paper type products. Now you'll see with this one, I have a different type of storage solution. So this is a stamp case, and I have a store local to me that's called Cargo Largo. It's a kind of a used product, or a store where they get pallets of products, a whole variety that I don't know if they get them from lost or things that are missed in shipping, and they're discounted. So go there every once in a while, and occasionally I can find Stampin' Up or Close to My Heart products that might even be current products at a very discounted rate. So this was a stamp that I bought, and when I went to get it, I thought I got a great deal, and I opened it up and it was empty. But they sold me the case for $1, so I thought that was a great deal. And this is great for storing things like your ephemera packets. And they fit in here. Let me just kind of show you how they fit perfectly for storage. And you'll notice for all of my packets, what I did is I cut out the label so I would be able to refer back to these for information about the product. So this one is the Saying Something ephemera packet. And it also has, now this one's a little bit more delicate, but it does have 2 of each sheet. And these titles are awesome for cards. You might be able to use them for scrapbook layouts as well. Like I said, they're pretty delicate, so some of them have just kind of naturally are falling out on their own. So that shows you how easy they are just to punch right out. So I'm gonna just kind of put these back together, and I'm gonna keep these in the case. As you can see, they do come out quite easily. So when we think about ephemera, then we're thinking about like paper type of products. So it can also include stickers as well as types of die cuts. So for my project today, I looked ahead at some of the colors I might use, and I pulled out some of my sticker sheets. But I wanted to show you that, you know, ephemera is not just die cuts. It can include dies, it can include stickers, could be tickets from concerts or sporting events. It could include our die cuts that we cut out our dies and use those for embellishing our layouts, cards. So we've got stickers, we've got the dies, but these are kind of some of the ones that Stampin' Up currently sells. So when we think about ephemera, we don't necessarily think of stamp sets, but you could obviously stamp on something that you've die cut, and that becomes a piece of ephemera. So that's a little bit of background on ephemera, what it is, why you would use it, and then I'm going to go into how we can use these with a scrapbook layout. So I'm just going to stack these up and move them aside for now. And I want to show you the pictures that I'm going to scrapbook today. So I've got 3 pictures here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all 3 of them or not. And these are pictures I took last August, so they're almost 1 year old. And this is when I went to see the movie Barbie, the Barbie movie. So I dressed up all in pink, and I really hesitated because I didn't want to scrapbook these because of my weight in these pictures. And you may see me redo a layout with these pictures because this is a before picture, and since then I'm happy to say that I'm now down 63.5 pounds. So when I get to the actual 1 year mark, I will be using these for before and after photos. So you see I have a lot of pink because I was kind of going with the Barbie movie theme. So I pulled out one of my pink purses. I did my nails pink. I had the pink bow in my hair and everything. So I was kind of all decked out to go see the Barbie movie with one of my girlfriends. And that's the basis for this layout that I'm going to do. So I have my ephemera packets that I've already showed you that I'm going to use, but I also pulled out some stickers, and then let me move these over. I pulled out some other pieces that I have in my stash. So these are pieces from a prior Close to My Heart kit, and I cannot for the life of me think of the name of the kit, but these pieces coordinate with this sticker sheet. And I loved the color combinations when this was released, and I bought 2 of them. One of them I put together and used it, and the second, Hello Kitty, The second one, I just wanted to keep all of the bits and pieces because I loved them and I thought they would be great for, like we're talking about, for ephemera, for other layouts and cards and everything else in between. So I have these in my stash, and I have a smaller tray of the little tiny pieces. And it's time that I just need to use up what I have. So I'm hoping that I can pull from this and combine with my current product and turn this into a nice little layout. So for my base page, I wanted to use something relatively neutral, but have some kind of texture to it. So this is a piece of mix-in paper from Close to My Heart. And you can see it's got little circle polka dots on one side, but this is mink, kind of a pinstripe pattern. So I wanted something that wasn't just completely white, but would be a neutral to neutralize all of the different colors that I plan to pull in to spice up these photos. And again, I'm not sure yet how I'm going to lay out these photos, but I am thinking I want to cut them out into different shapes. So I'm thinking, you know, one could be a circle, one might be a rectangle, and I'm not sure that I'm going to use this purse one just yet, but I do think it kind of adds to the whole story that I want to tell in this one page layout. Now I did also pull in a stamp set that I think I might use because it has a lot of fun little icons here and some small little sayings here, and then a piece that I might be able to use for some journaling. So I pulled that out just to set aside, and I think I might grab this as I work through the layout, maybe do some stamping on the base page. So I want to bring in my Versa mat or my glass mat and get this page down and think about perhaps die cutting around either one of these, and then look at what we want to, how we want to position these, and then we'll decide on what kind of ephemera pieces we want to include. So let me get my mats pulled in and we'll start chopping that up. I decided that I wanted to use all three of the photos because I think that'll make a good visual look for the layout. So I pulled in my new favorite die set, which is the Spotlight on Nature. And I think I'm going to cut all of these out in circles. And you can see on that right photo, the circle is going to have to overlap a little bit so it won't get everything within the circle. And I'm going to play, you know, magical circles here and get those cut out. And now that I've got them cut out, you can see that right one there is going to have to go on the left because it's got that straight edge. And I want this photo of myself to be the focal photo. Normally I wasn't planning to mat these, but I found that I had this circle in my ephemera packet that it will mat it perfectly, so I brought that in. So the next thing I'm going to do is just go through all of my pieces of ephemera here from the Stampin' Up packets. This is the Fully Flowering, and I'm going to pull out everything that I think I might use. Now I may not use all of these, and I may have to come back and pull out some extras, but this is going to give me just a nice place to start with. So I'm going to go through these flower items, and then I'm going to pull in the Labels and Layers ephemera packet and see if there's anything in here that I want to use as well. I decided that with the additional packet for the Saying Something ephemera packet, there wasn't really anything in there I thought would be applicable for this particular layout. So as I'm pulling everything out, I'm just setting those aside so that I can work through and kind of audition what I think I might use for the layout. The only thing what I really knew when I saw is this big black and white floral cluster, and when I saw it, I knew I wanted it to go with my focal photo. The other pieces here, I had no idea where I wanted them to be, or if I for sure wanted to use them. So from here, this is really just an auditioning process. And it's kind of like putting the pieces of a puzzle together without really knowing where they all go. So I'm going to put them in, play around with them, and see where I like them, where I don't like them. And then I'm also going to pull in my other pieces of ephemera that I had from my, introduction photo that I showed you, and pull some of those in, see what I like. You'll see I pull things in, pull things out, just kind of playing around with everything and see where I like things. You'll see me put things in here that won't stay. Those 2 tags above that purse photo, I definitely will pull those out. I thought I would like them there, but in the end, I really don't like how big they are. This blue floral cluster, you can see I'm playing around with that a lot, and I didn't like it under my focal photo, but I really like it here on the right side. So again, just putting things in, pulling them out until I get them exactly where I want them. And you can see I'm playing around also with this little tag and floral cluster on the bottom right. And you will notice throughout this process that in the end, I end up taking that piece out, as it doesn't serve me much purpose on this page, and I need that space for my journaling. Now, these 3 little border scallops I thought would be fun to add because they add some more color, and I had 3 of them, and so I thought it would be fun to add 1 for each photo piece. So that worked out really well, and I like adding those in as additional grounding pieces. I've got a lot of extra pieces over here on the right side of my glass mat that I'm thinking I may pull in at a later time and I may not, so I'm going to keep those out. I pulled out those big tags that I didn't like, and I realized I had another smaller tag in my little tray there, so I pulled that in with a little circle. I like that a lot better. And then I pulled out my ephemera pack again, so I'm going back to that and pulling in some smaller flowers just to add to that little tag and circle cluster. So I'm kind of getting to the point where I think I'm in a good place with all of my little pieces of ephemera. And now I'm pulling in my stamp set. This is the stamp from Stampin' Up. It's called Love This Moment. I really was planning to use this throughout the layout. And it's got this great little piece for journaling. So I'm hoping that I can use it down here in this right-hand section. So I need to grab a block and get that mounted. I'm going to think about how I can use that in this section. So I thought I would stamp it on the page, and now I'm having second thoughts. So I'm bringing in a tag and think maybe I'll stamp it on the tag, and no, I don't like that either. So I'm just going to think about that for a while and let it kind of boil over in my brain and move on to my title. So I pulled out some acrylic letters, and I want to use the title for Barbie because it was the Barbie movie. And you can see that the white doesn't show up very well. So I'm bringing in one of my alcohol markers, and this is the bright pink shades alcohol marker. And if you didn't know that you can color these, I wanted to show you that you can color these alcohol letters and make them any color that you need them to. So I'm coloring one of the letters here. I'll do the rest off camera, but I just wanted to show you how that works. And that will make those pop out a lot better. You can see how well that looks. Now, my name is not Barbie, and I didn't want it to be confused with my name, so I wanted to add Barbie the movie. Finding stamps that said the movie was a little tricky, but I went into my stash and I found one stamp that is called Movie Night, and it had the word movie. And so then I just needed to find something that had the word the that was comparable in size and shape. So I found Let the Good Times Roll, and there was a stamp in here that says Let the Good Times Roll. So I did a little stamp surgery and cut out the word the, and that will allow me to use those two stamps independently but put them together for the movie. Now normally I'm not real nervous about stamping right on my layout, but this one made me a little nervous. So you can see I had to scoot that a little bit closer to myself to make sure I could get that positioned correctly. Now at this stage in the process, I wanted to bring in some more neutral color because I got a lot of different colors going on in this page, and I thought it would be good to bring in some black. So I pulled in another stamp that is relatively new. This is This Happened, and it was originally a Close to My Heart stamp, now offered by Stampin' Up. So I mounted that, and then I realized it wasn't quite straight. So a little tip there is, saw me line that up on my glass mat using the grid lines, and then I remounted it on my block, and you saw me season that with the inside of my arm. So you can use the side of your arm, your hand, but I do like to season my stamps the first time that I use them so that they will hold the ink very nicely. And I'm just adding this little stitched line sporadically as it kind of peeks out of my little rounded circles for my photos. And that will just kind of balance out all of that busy colorness throughout the layout and add some visual texture to that background page as well. So I'm going to randomly, I say randomly, but kind of strategically position that little stitched line throughout. And you can see I'm kind of crisscrossing that, and then I'm going to carry that across the page in some cases. And now I've messed up all of my nice little floral clusters. So I'm going to kind of play around with some of that, put it back in place, and then I can move on. So as I'm putting those back in place and I'm moving on, thinking back to this journaling spot that's giving me such a hard time. So I decided I'm not going to stamp that on to my page. Instead, I'm going to bring in my ruler here, and I'm going to draw in some lines with my pencil so that I can just handwrite my journaling in this space. And this is where I told you, remember I pulled out that extra little tag and floral spot, so I've got room for my journaling here. And before I add the journaling, I wanted to note here, I've got this little stamp up here, and it is from that Love This Moment set, and it's got lots of little word catchphrases, and this one says, I love this. And it was a little bit too big for that tag. So again, I did some stamp surgery and I cut it in half so it says I love, and then I cut the word this. And it's hard to tell, but this tag is lined. So I'm going to play around with this, and you see I brought in my piercing tool because it wanted to stick to my fingernails. And the reason I'm fussing around with that so much is I want it to line up with the lines on the tag. So one way would have been to just stamp it twice and use, two different blocks, or, reposition the stamp. But this way allowed me to just stamp it once and get it right on the line. So I wanted to show you that. Now there's other little fun catchphrases in this stamp set as well. And so I'm going to bring in a sticker sheet that I had from my stash, which is the Fundamentals Basic Pack. And I had this fun little circle, and using some of the other stamps, I stamped on it with the details and the date. And I'm going to put that down here where I've got my journaling, and I had those little tags over here, and I thought I'd add some color to that area. So I'm putting those little tags behind the sticker, and I wanted to pop that up. As you know, I like to use my foam tape and pop up all these fun little things. So I've got that, and I played around with getting those tags going in the right direction and my journaling straight. So now I want to pull in some other little icons and sayings from that stamp set as well. So I've got one here that says this picture, and one that says say cheese. So I put those on the stickers as well, and that will allow me to bring in some more of that black neutral element into the layout. So I'm just going to put those down as kind of placeholders, and I'll come back to those in a little bit. Now I'm bringing in those little icons from the stamp set, and I've got a little heart, and I'm stamping that with the Petunia Pop. So it's going to bring in some more of that pink color into the layout. And then I'm using some of the other ones that I'm stamping in black. So Here I think I've got a camera, which I love cameras, so that is a fun little icon. And you can see my hand looks like it's shaking all over, but I'm just kind of thinking about how and where I want to strategically stamp those little pieces. And the next one I have is this fun little arrow, and I'm adding that to where it's pointing into each of the photos. So I have to reposition that. And then the last one that I add is this little thumbs up. So the last line of my journaling says, the movie was great and I give it 2 thumbs up. So I wanted to add this little thumbs up icon. And I remembered that I did not adhere down all of my little floral pieces because some of them are down with the thin foam tape and some of them are thick. So I've got lots of layers in the dimension. So I'm going to go back and make sure all of those flowers are fully secured to the page and all of my clusters are down. And I decided that I wanted to put these stickers down with foam tape as well. So I'm bringing in my foam tape and I'm going to get those secured. And you'll notice that this one on the right photo, I do keep that in the same position. But for my top focal photo, I decided to move it over to the other side of that flower. So it's kind of directly under the photo. And I think I like that positioning a little bit better. So as we're looking at that, I realized that my title still needs a little bit of work. So I need to put the eye on, or the dot on the eye for the Barbie. And I'm bringing in some of my wild berry glitter gems. And I wanted that one to be a little bit darker to match the title. So I brought in my marker and just added a little bit darker color. And I'm thinking that it would be a good idea to add some more gems throughout the layout. So I'm going to pepper this layout with a few more glitter gems. So I've got some larger ones and some smaller ones. So give it a little bit of variety. And I'm going to put those throughout each one of my photo clusters along with the little floral clusters with each photo. And you can see I'm putting them on some of the embellishment pieces and then also just on the page itself. Really the whole theme of this is a lot of variety with elements throughout the entire page. So at this point I'm just going to clean up these extra little pieces I have, and the only thing I have left to do here is trim out the overlap of these pieces. And as I trim that out, that's really going to wrap up this page, guys, and that's all I have. So we're going to trim that off and finish everything up. Okay, friends, let's take one final look at this page here and look at how we were able to incorporate our 3 photos, but adding in all of these little pieces of the ephemera. Hopefully you were able to learn a little bit more about ephemera, what it is, how to use it within your layouts, and even card projects as well. So we took our 3 photos and made them into the focal points in the visual triangle, and then added the ephemera to each of them. So we have the 3 photos in the visual triangles, but then we expanded that into the 3 focal points with the ephemera clusters as well. So I hope you liked that and learned something in the video. And if you did, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. I also will include the descriptions of all of the products that I used in today's video. And I wanted to, as a final thing here, is just kind of give this a little bit of an angle and show you how adding all of this dimension I think really enhances the look of the layouts. You guys know I love dimension, and one thing I didn't do in this layout is the inking, but I almost always add dimension. So I've got, you know, the thin items here and then the thicker items popped up here. So adding that dimension just, to me, adds a lot to the layout. So you've got that texture and dimension, and then you've got the visual texture by stamping right on the page as well. And then this title, so you know, these being the acrylic shapes and the gems just adds another kind of layer and style of dimension. So this layout, even it's only being a single page, just adds a lot to it. So you've got all the ephemera, the clustering, the texture, the dimension, So it's got a lot of different elements to it, just packed into one single page. So please add some comments and let me know if you learned anything today, what you like about it, all the variety that we've added in. And as always, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. I know there's a lot of content out there, and I appreciate that you choose to watch mine. So thank you so much for that, and I will certainly be back in another week and have something new to share with you again. Have a great day and take care, everybody.